What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first show of Philly with Jon Marks right here on PHLY. And yes, late is normal, as someone said here, but listen, we're getting everything set up. This is the first show, so I need to figure out where everything is, including my laptop right here. This is not a sponsor, but this is my C4, Starburst C4 Performance Energy, which is delicious. So let me take a sip here. Anyway, we have so much to talk about as we are at the beginning of a football week, an Eagles week, a Friday night game in Brazil. A lot on that coming up here. The Phillies, thank God, they won 3-4 against the Braves. So the show, it's called Philly with Jon Marks. Every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., right here on PHLY. So a lot of people are asking me, well, how do I listen? All right, how do I watch? Well, let's start with the listening first. This will be available in podcast form pretty much right when we get off the air. So at 9 o'clock-ish, if your routine is, hey, let me see if it's posted, you should be able to listen to the show every day right around 9 a.m. like you watch it, listen to any other podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, boom, go get it. You can listen. As far as watching and or listening, we're live on YouTube every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Also, and this is new to me, Roku TV. We're live on Roku. So here's what you do. Search PHLY Sports on YouTube or Roku. And there's going to be a lot of other ways coming up soon that you can also watch the show. So that's how you watch it. That's how you can view it. Now, the show is just not me. And anybody that's ever listened to me on the radio knows that everything that I've ever done becomes a part of a community. And today's the first day of that. PHLY has already started a Philadelphia sports community that I am really, really excited to be a part of. So this show will just be an extension of that. Tyler Zulli, who will not only be my producer, but also, he's our update guy. You know him, you love him from PHLY Phillies, PHLY PSU. Is that what it's called, Tyler, or is it Penn State? What exactly?
Yeah, we're still kind of workshopping that one a little bit. So what's up, John? Pleasure to be with you, by the way.
What's up?
Yeah, we're kind of workshopping that name still. We might be PSU. We might be Nittany Lion. Who knows? I'm still figuring that out. But I appreciate it up until you love them part. I don't know about all that. You might be selling me a little bit tall there. But
PHLY, we are. Hashtag.
Yeah, sure. You call it whatever you want.
All right.
Well, I said to Renee on Friday, listen, I know there's a lot of Penn State fans in the Philly area. I also know there's a lot of Penn State haters in the Philadelphia area. So either way, you're welcome to come hang out with us.
More of a Penn State hater than a fan, but nevertheless, I observe. I love college football. Watched the game last night. So Tyler, we'll get into so just to kind of set up what we'll do on the show, since this is the first one, I'll come out, I'll talk for a couple minutes. Maybe Tyler jumps in at the beginning. Then we're going to go to, I don't want anybody to think it's going to be like a news update or like a very buttoned up, well, let's go to the headlines with Tyler, right? Like,
what do you mean? You don't want to Walter Cronkite this thing?
I don't. Maybe Jim Gardner? No Walter Cronkite. But yeah, we're going to go over the news that had happened the night before in Philly sports and then beyond. So yeah, and it's going to be fun. We're going to mix some stuff in. It's not just going to be straight sports. We're going to mix some of the more interesting stories out there, and then we'll have some great guests. And then from there, we'll just do what we do. Every show that I've ever been a part of, and I've done a lot of radio shows with a lot of partners from my very first show when I was still in college, all the way up until right now, is that like your show always ends up developing a personality and an identity, but it really kind of needs to happen organically. So we feel like we know what we're going to do. I know what Tyler likes. We're very similar in the type of personalities that we have. Although he informs me this morning, he's like, everybody will tell me I'm not really a morning person. I'm thinking to myself in my head, like, going to kind of be a problem. We're on every morning.
We'll figure it out eventually. I'll get there. Listen, I got a kid on the way. I don't have a choice in this matter. I'm going to be a morning person at some point. I'm also going to be a night person, a no sleep person. That's how that works.
October?
November,
baby boy.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to have boys. My old friend Jack Fritz, who's still my friend, but he has a boy. I don't even know. Someone told me that they're having another one. I don't know if that's a boy, but baseball players and guys like you have at least one boy. If you have three, maybe you have one girl.
I don't know how that works, but
and I have three girls.
But if you have three and you have one girl, my dad grew up a baseball player. He's got two boys and a girl.
Right.
So
and I have three girls,
maybe
which
you're
is kind of indicative of me. But anyway, yes. So this will be a very fun, free-flowing show. Anybody that knows Tyler and me, like we take our job seriously. We love sports, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So we'll have fun with everything. All right. So just real quick, then we'll get to Tyler and what happened last night and over the long weekend. Because listen, it's Tuesday. It's going to screw me up all week. I'm going to be thinking it's Monday all week, and no, it's Tuesday. But not only is it a short week, it's a really short week when it comes to the Eagles, because the game's Friday night in Brazil, which in itself, I know some media's out there already. I know fans are out there already. The whole thing is weird. You can't tweet. We'll get to that coming up in a second. It's been banned. I don't know what some of the media people out there are going to do without the ability to tweet. But Eagles are 3-point favorites. It's a really, really strong line, all things being considered. Packers finished the year strong last year. The Eagles limped into the playoffs and then got their ass kicked by the Bucs. So I feel like that if Vegas didn't have a lot of confidence in the Eagles this opening week, that line would be pick 'em, maybe Eagles -1, something like that. It's a strong 3-point line. So we'll talk about it coming up here in a little bit. But the Phillies were really the big story of the weekend. And I knew I went in and, oh, by the way, BetParks is our presenting sponsor of the show. BetParks, and I say that because I do a baseball show. It's called Out of the Parks with Jon Marks on BetParks. BetParks social medias and their YouTube page, etc. And we do it every Wednesday with Maniac Malloy and Sam Stafford. And I know on this past Wednesday, we were previewing the Braves series, and it seemed to be a lot of people that were saying in a 4-game series, oh, let's just get 2. Let's win 2. We don't want to lose any ground in the NL East. Let's just get through this series. And I said, you know what? The hell with that. The Braves couldn't be more beat up if you look at the injuries that they've had. We're not just talking about injuries. We're talking about from the beginning of the season, losing the MVP, potential Cy Young, the Cy Young favorite for the year, and then they've lost more players after that. So it gets to a point where the Phillies, where we have to stop being scared about this team. And that's where I was last week. Like, no confidence at all about this team. And I said, you know what? That's got to stop. They got to come in and they got to win this series. We have to leave this weekend saying, you know what? That was a good series win. And that was a good series win. They weren't easy. It wasn't an easy series. And the Braves are a good team. Braves still have a lot of talent. Very well-run organization. But the Phillies at home, Citizens Bank Park, you need to win 3 of 4 in the series. And they did it. 7-game lead in the NL East right now. And it's going to be really, really difficult for them to cough up this division. So you can more or less still have work to do, but you can give them the division. And Nick Castellanos, we'll talk about him coming up in a second, but man, I mean, he can be as maddening of a player as any in the city right now. When he's off, man, he's off. You could roll a bowling ball up there and he's swinging at it. But when he's on, and this is kind of where the Phillies need him, he can almost carry a team. And when he's hot, he can do that. Remember last year in the NLCS, before Game 3 happened, he was on a historic pace. This team was on a historic pace. Nick Castellanos was on a historic pace. And then just like that, boom, they all went cold and he went ice cold. So Castellanos, when he's good, eat it up, man, because they're going to need guys to step up. Bryce is a little bit banged up, but they need guys to step up. Nick Castellanos, he stepped up. And he's fun to watch. Now, the post-game interviews, not so fun, cringy a little bit on ESPN, but Nick Castellanos is fun to watch. Phil's got her done, man. They won 3 of 4. Give us some cushion now. Let's build this lead up a little bit. Let's get some confidence heading into September or in September, as playoff baseball is not that far away. All right, a lot happened over the weekend. Let's get to it. What you got there, Tyler?
Yeah, let's do it. It's been a long weekend. I'm sure you all probably had some fun. Maybe imbibed in a couple of drinks if that's your thing. So let's get you caught up, because this weekend started a long, long time ago, 5 days ago to be exact. We'll go back to Thursday night, where we had our opening of the series, Braves Phillies, as you just talked about. I was one of the guys that was in the camp of 2-2 is good.
Club.
2-2 is good enough. Hey, you want to call it scared? You want to call it whatever you want to call it. I was in that camp where I felt like if you held serve, you cut a lead from, you kept a lead and you cut it from 29 to 25 games. Somewhere in that mix, you were going to make it more difficult for the Braves to win the division. I think winning 3 of 4 is pretty darn close to stepping on throats and extending it to 7. Now, 7 over 25, we've seen 7 and 17 before, but 7 over 25 is a lot. It's a lot to overcome, and I'm not sure if the Braves are able to overcome this. Their schedule's not daunting. I know they have the Marlins and the Nationals still yet to play, but so do the Phillies. So you take care of business, and hopefully things go that way.
The Phillies have 1 series left against a playoff team. Milwaukee. Now, the Mets are close to being in the playoffs, so you have back-to-back home against the Mets at the Brewers, and then you're at the Mets again. But Blue Jays, Marlins stink. Rays aren't very good this year. Cubs are actually over 500. We'll see where they are right there. And the Nationals, that's the last. Don't they always end with the Nationals? Doesn't it seem like every ending
sure feels that way.
It's the Nationals. So it's not like that you have this gauntlet. Like we talked about the Eagles' schedule. Like, they have the gauntlet. Oh my God, they don't have the gauntlet. They got to win the game.
They just played their gauntlet.
They did.
They had Braves, Royals, Astros, Braves. That was the gauntlet. Yep. And you came out. You won the Royals series. You won the Astro series. You won the second Brave series. You won 3 out of 4 series in what was supposed to be the 13-game stretch of death. I'm not sure you have a lot to complain about right now, especially with how it started, because I believe they are 11 and 2 in non-Taiwan Walker starts in that mix.
Yeah, well, I mean, we won't have to see that anymore, hopefully.
Yeah, let's hope. But let's go back to Thursday night, where things looked bleak, because I don't know about you, but I thought Christopher Sanchez was the better pitcher Thursday night.
Yeah.
Charlie Morton had the better results for a bulk of the game, right? Morton danced around danger, walked a bunch of guys. The Phillies had like 2 hits through 5 innings, but he was walking guys, leaving guys on base. It was 3-0 after 5. It was 4-0 at the end of the top of the 6th, heading into the 6th. The Phillies looked just despondent. They looked a little bit crushed. This one felt like it was going to get out of hand. And then all of a sudden, things turn around. Home runs in back-to-back innings. Brandon Marsh coming up big. Brandon Marsh has put some better swings on the ball as of late. And as you talked about, maybe the guy that's kept this team afloat over the last couple of weeks, Nick Castellanos, makes this a 5-4 game. The Phillies bullpen locks it down. Jeff Hoffman gets the save in this one. And we talked about Hoffman, Estevez, what's kind of the placement with those two. Quite frankly, when this bullpen's on, I don't think it matters.
Right.
But Orion Kerkering an inning in the 3rd, Matt Strahm an inning, Jeff Hoffman an inning, 0 hits allowed, 5 strikeouts over 3 1/3. They get the win on Thursday night, 5-4. Yeah,
and it's honestly, it's like that. Isn't that the template for how the Phillies are going to win games? You remember 2008, you had Lidge in the 9th inning, and then it was a matter of the bridge to Lidge. You had Madsen, you had Air, you had J.C. Romero, who ironically was on PEDs or something at the point. But
don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
But hey, it worked. But when you look at this team, hit a couple how did they win the game? Hit 2 home runs, good starting pitching, and then the bullpen, bing, bang, boom. And I agree with you. Hoffman, when Hoffman's on, good luck, because he's probably your 8th inning guy.
Sure.
And then you have Strahm's been good. I worried a little bit they were running out of gas there over the last couple of weeks. You're not going to pitch to a sub-1 ERA the entire season, so you have to allow that they're going to have some bumps. But team's going to be tough to beat if they can get 6 innings out of their starters. And, I mean, this team's designed to get 6 innings out of their starters. So I agree with you. I mean, the game's 4-0, and I'm like, Well, like, who are you going to be facing in the wild card round? The Braves are going to at least win 3 or 4 games. And just like that, over the course of an inning, the fortunes changed. Thank God, man.
Yeah, and my thing is with that bullpen, you're right, because I think Hoffman's got the best stuff in the bullpen.
For sure.
Estevez has closer experience and throws hard, throws a lot of strikes. I get it. To me, the guy that's the turning point is Orion Kerkering. Because if Kerkering pitches well, you've got another guy in your bullpen that you trust down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him in high leverage situations. And I look at his numbers, I feel like that he hasn't. Not that he's been bad. I don't want to sound negative on Kerkering, but I don't know. Like, I just still don't have a ton of confidence putting him in the 8th inning.
Okay.
With a 1-run lead in the playoffs, that I feel totally confident with that. Hoffman, yes. Estevez in the 9th. I'm getting there. He's been good the last. He hit a bumpy couple appearances there in the middle.
Yeah, the one appearance against the Nationals was the bad one. But if you look at his numbers since he's joined the Phillies,
he's been good.
2.22 ERA. I mean,
he's been good.
And the thing with him is, you kind of know the book on Estevez. He's going to throw a lot of strikes, throws a lot of fastballs, and he gives up some hard contact. There's times where you go, man, that ball was crushed, but it was hit right at Johan Rojas. Man, that ball was crushed, liner right at Bryson Stott. You can live with that if it's outs, right? The BABIP is probably not indicative of who he is, but he's pitched well this year.
Yeah, and to your point, getting that game 1 win takes such an edge off of
for sure
of everything. I mean, it really does. Now you're like, all right, now you don't necessarily worry about, are we losing 3 or 4? Are we losing 2 games in the standings? It's so big. It's so big that splitting the series. I'd be in here today being like, but at least they split, picking up some games on the division. Boom.
Significant.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's move to game 2 because that was the only one that they did drop. It just was not a great game from the jump. Ranger Suarez gets the start in this one. Really sharp out of I shouldn't say from the jump, really sharp out of the gate. Strikes out the first 4 hitters he sees. Looked really good, was pinpoint with his curveball location. And then the Braves made adjustments because, as you said, they're banged up, they're beaten, they're depleted. They're still a good baseball team. They made adjustments. Sat and spit on a lot of the stuff in the dirt. They were leaving the changeup down, leaving the curveball down, and then of course Ranger Suarez had to get back into the zone, and they started to they pounced a little bit. He gives up 4 over 4, strikes out 6. On the other side, one of the Phillies' thorns in their side this year was Reynaldo Lopez. He's been good in just about every start he's made against the Phillies this year. 2 earned runs in 17 2/3 innings pitched in 3 starts against them. Really good acquisition for the Braves this year. Between acquiring him and Chris Sale, especially with the loss of Spencer Strider at the beginning of the season, those 2 guys have really kept their starting rotation afloat. Not much to say in this one. Orlando Arcia hits 2 home runs. Sean Murphy hits a home run. Phillies lose this one 7-2. It just was not a great game from the jump.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say about this is that, Ranger Suarez, divisional opponent, they know him very well. Like you said, they kind of know they have a much better idea and an approach going up there with Ranger Suarez. He was good in his first start back from the EL. He was good. It was good to see him back. Man, he certainly doesn't look like a number 1 or a number 2 like he did in the beginning of the season, which is fine as long as Wheeler's pitching the way he's pitching. And Nola's been really good.
Been very good. Yeah.
Sanchez is a better pitcher. He's got better stuff than Ranger Suarez. Just does. So hopefully Ranger can continue. I love Ranger. And one of the big things I like about him is, he's a big game pitcher. So I feel comfortable with him going out of a bullpen or as a starter in the playoffs. Gives you some versatility. So
yeah, and I think, listen, he probably gets the game 3 start, or whatever the third game is. But the thing with him, like you talked about, he's a weapon in the playoffs. You give you 3 outs out of the bullpen. He's done it before. I think that versatility is significant for the Phillies. All right, let's move to game 3 because this was vintage, just Cy Young candidate Zach Wheeler. He was the story. Tip of the cap to Max Fried. He pitched pretty well in this one. But Zach Wheeler, seven shutout innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts. Bullpen strong again. Hoffman and Estevez come in, shut the door out of the pen. 3-0 Phils. 6 hits for the Braves. Just 5 hits for the Phillies, but they win this one 3-0. Due in large part because Zach Wheeler might have been his best start in the last couple of weeks. He's been a rock all year. I mean, there's nothing else to say about how good this guy's been.
I apologize. I'm on the BetParks app and I'm looking for because Chris Sale was running away with the
I
Cy
imagine
Young.
he's probably still the favorite.
Yeah,
but,
no doubt.
But Wheeler's made a case. He's made a really strong case. I think Sale wins it. But if it weren't for Chris Sale, I think that Zach Wheeler would be your front runner to win the Cy Young.
Sale's minus 590 on the BetParks app right now. Wheeler's plus 250. So you can lock it up that Sale's going to get it. Wheeler has been one of the best signings that has ever happened in the city.
Agree.
He has been, and Clintack gets a lot of crap, and a lot of it's deserved. That's one of the best free agent signings in any sport in the city. He's been nothing short of amazing.
And I think if you parlay not only how good he's been, but with the alternative to who they could have signed when we talk about Patrick Corbin, because my God, he's been terrible.
Yeah.
I talked about it the other day. He won 44 starts as a Met and had a 3.77 ERA. He's now won 56 games as a Philly in one additional start. He made 127 for the Mets. He's made 128 for the Phillies. He's won 56 games. He has a sub-3 ERA as a Philly starter.
Knock on wood, he's been healthy, something he's never been able to do in New York as well. So, yeah, man. All right, so you win that game. Now you're feeling good.
Yep. You've
kind
earned,
of all gravy.
You've earned your split. Now it's about how do you get up for this last game? How do you win game 4? Well, another guy that's been a thorn in their side is Spencer Schwellenbach. They can't seem to figure him out. He doesn't throw a lot of strikes. He doesn't throw fastballs at all to this Phillies team. They highlighted it on the broadcast the other night. But he pitched well again. He gave up two runs in the 6th inning off the Nick Castellanos home run to tie the game at 2. The game goes on, and what you see is what you're going to get in playoff baseball. 2 teams with really, really good bullpens. The Phillies, we talked about it, but the Braves is equally good. I know Pierce Johnson had a little bit of a rough pass, but they went Dylan Lee, Pierce Johnson, Joe Jimenez, Raisel Iglesias, who was one of the best bullpen arms in baseball, I think, and Aaron Bummer combined for 5 innings of shutout ball, 0 hits, 7 strikeouts between the 4 of them. 2 really good bullpens. And then in the end, Grant Holmes comes in, try to get the final out, try to swell the tides a little bit because they had the ghost runner. The Phillies did a really good job both innings. Carlos Estevez did an awesome job of stranding that ghost runner both times. Then in the bottom of the 11th, this is what ended up happening. And we should have sound, but apparently we don't.
Here's the pitch.
So there you go.
Drive. Yeah, anybody that looks like Kenny Powers, this is the second time he's they've had a walk-off against him. He looks like Kenny, cut the hair, but you don't want to look like Kenny Powers. Kenny Powers, they're making fun of you in advance. Now you're trying to look like Kenny Powers.
I got to ask you, whose is worse? I don't know if you've seen between Grant Holmes and Andrew Chafin. They're both they're spot on for Kenny Powers. It's incredible.
Listen, I'll go Holmes, but it's close.
So no sound. Sorry about that. But you got to see the walk-off. Nick Castellanos wins it in the 11th. All 3 RBIs on Sunday to take game 4. They win the series 3-1, and as you said, extend their division lead to 7.
He's been good. They win 3 of 4. All right, let's take a time out for 1 second. We'll get right back to it. But TrueMark Financial, their pickleball tournament. And by the way, I'm just saying this. Philly with Jon Marks and Tyler, we would kick if we played pickleball against the other shows. Done, right? And I'm going to do this for a lot of things.
But you better be carrying the team because it's not me.
Yeah, why me? But here's the thing: who's going to beat us? Jamie. All right, Renee.
So I was going to ask you,
Jamie.
Who do I play for? I'm on 3 shows now.
Well, that's true. But you could. Well, they already have 2 people on that show, so we could be aligned. PHLY Phillies, so we could be aligned. But so maybe you could play for the other team if you needed to. But all I'm saying is,
me and you.
If we were in the TrueMark pickleball tournament, we would kick their ass. All right. TrueMark Financial Care Foundation is hosting a charity pickleball event to raise money for financial education in our local communities. So everybody that was out there for the golf outing, you might remember our friends from TrueMark. This is to benefit their foundation charity. It's coming up September 7th at the Upper Dublin Sports Center in Ambler, 1:30 to 5 p.m. round robin. So it's fun. So it's competitive, but it's non-competitive. If you lose, you get to keep playing, right? So if you were to play us, you would lose, but you could play. All right. There's a certified pickleball pro on site to overview the game for anyone who's never played before. And trust me, you don't need prior experience for this. You can learn on the fly. Paddles and balls are available for free to use. Cost is $50, but that benefits the charity. You get a swag bag from TrueMark and all PHLY. And if you have a company, you want to get involved, check this out. Have your logo on display at the event. They're selling a variety of sponsorships from $200 to $1,000. So you say, oh, you know what? I don't want to play pickleball. Doesn't matter. Come out. Beer trucks, food trucks, cornhole, other games, 50-50 raffles, prizes, giveaways, music. It's like a block party. And a percentage of the proceeds are all going to charity. So if you're playing in the tournament, come on out. And it's Saturday coming up here. So to be a part of it, you get 10% discount on registration. Register at TrueMark.com/PHLY pickleball. TrueMark.com/PHLY pickleball. So how about that? All right, BetParks, pro football, and the Birds coming up. Season openers on Friday. By the way, on the BetParks app, Eagles are 3-point favorites. All right, the only sports book that I would ever recommend is BetParks. The BetParks Sportsbook app, online casino, great offer for new customers to kick off the upcoming pro football season. 50-1 odds boost on your pick to win this year's pro football championship. All new users who sign up and make deposit receive a 50-1 Super Bowl odds boost. BetParks.com has all the terms and conditions. So you get the odds boosted from 50-1. 50-1. That's right. Download the BetParks Sportsbook online casino app right now. Get your 50-1 Super Bowl odds boost on your pick for this year's pro football champion. This is a limited time offer, and it's for new customers only. So get in now. BetParks.com has terms and conditions. Must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Right now, what would you, Tyler? 50-1 odds boost. Where you can't pick the Eagles. Where are you going?
Okay. Can't pick the Eagles. We talking player props? We talking teams?
Team to win the championship. The big game.
To win the big game. If I am all right, I'm not going the Eagles. I don't believe the Chiefs three-peat.
It's tough.
It's really tough. I will go with. I think it's also hard to lose the Super Bowl and get back, especially knowing they had the Brandon Ayuk drama and that Trent Williams may not play. So I don't think I'm going to go with the Niners either. How about this? Let me take the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh,
I'm a big Lamar fan. MVP last year. Couple extra weapons. Derrick Henry involved in the mix now. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens if I can't take the Birds.
I am a Lamar fan like you, as the Cuz Anthony Gargano is coming in here to wish me well on the first show. Oh, here
Johnny Mark!
What's up, Cuz?
This is great.
So
this is so good to see you.
I have my official C4 Performance Starburst Zero Sugar energy drink. It makes you itch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like if anybody out there has ever had they've done like a pre-workout thing and it makes you itch, there's something wrong with that. I shouldn't be drinking it, but it gives me energy. What's up? We have it set up.
Birds!
I have it set up for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go sit down.
I love it.
So Tyler said he would. So Tyler said he would take the Ravens. I said you can't pick the Eagles, but you have to pick somebody to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I actually I'm a Lamar Jackson fan, but at some point in the playoffs, you have to pass that test. And like last year, your boy Spags said, "Hey, we're not giving you any intermediate throws. We're not giving you short throws. You're gonna have to beat us down the field." And he couldn't do it. So I like the Ravens. They're a good team. Man, it's hard to make it past the Chiefs on the road.
And by the way, I mean they got a couple weapons, sneaky.
Yeah.
The kid Worthy from Texas, the rookie. Watch him.
That's an Andy pick.
That's an Andy. Andy's going to have a lot of fun with him, I heard. Now, defensively, they're a little young back there again, so that's kind of do the whole thing. But they're good. Listen, if you had to ask me a pick, and I can't take the Birds, then I think Detroit.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they're good.
Well, you can't argue with their talent.
Right.
And they have talent across the board.
The running back is one of the most exciting players.
Love him.
He's outrageous. And between him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, are you kidding me?
Which was a steal.
Yeah.
And with Gibbs
and the tight end.
Oh, Laporta. So with Gibbs, and I'll be one of the first to admit that my reaction to them overdrafting him in the first round was, what are you doing?
Right.
As a running back. And then you look at him on the field and see how he fits that team. He's an amazing talent.
No, I mean, and he got lost at Bama, right?
Yep.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs had all that stop and start, that quick and on turf, like they're pretty nasty.
Yeah, look out. And Goff, people sleep on him.
Yeah.
And they gave up a first-round draft pick to get rid of him. The Rams did.
I know.
And you look at what he's doing right now. Just talent across the board. And again, since I'm saying this about the Lions, I thought Dan Campbell with the knee biting, the kneecap biting and stuff like that, that dude has a football culture.
Oh,
he knows what the hell he's doing. They play for him. They love him.
He's actually, I know like he had all that bluster, but he's a smart guy.
Yeah,
he's a good fun. And their defense got better. Their front is better, and their secondary is better.
In-game management against some of the top coaches, I question a little bit with Campbell.
Well, against the Niners, that game was a little shaky. Like, you
got to
kick it, man. You got to kick it.
They should have won that game.
Yeah, they should have. I know, I'm with you. But, like, they're on paper, I think they have a tremendous talent. But I got to ask you, right? Because here you are. We're back together. It's opening week of the Birds. And I'm so excited. Like, the one gift that the Eagles have, and I'm writing this in our football preview section, is the Eagles are just a contender every year. They're a story every year. And it wasn't always like this. Like, it's cool to be an Eagles fan forever. Like, when we wwere kids, it wasn't cool.
It's weird.
Right?
It's still weird to me that the Eagles have a top 3 run organization in football.
By far, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how you
They're a gold standard. Like,
they finally made it, Andy.
They did. when I'll never forget, like when they said, we want to be the gold standard. When Jeffrey Lurie said that,
right.
I mean, those words got thrown back in his face 1,000 times.
Yep.
Right? And he achieved it. I don't care, like, Super Bowls. They won one. Now they've been
went back
to
another. I mean, the reality was when he said it, he was just ahead of himself because he did actually. One of the first modern front offices in football with Joe Banner coming in. And then you look what they've done since then. They were one of the first organizations to really embrace analytics and use it. You think Doug...
And sports science.
And sports science before that. You think Doug Peterson was the one that wanted to go for it on fourth down? Or was that and give Doug credit, but that's an organizational thing.
No. Totally right. And their sports science, their training staff was always ahead.
Always
ahead. When Rick Burkhalter, who left, went with Andy, like Andy really, and Jeffrey will tell you this, he brought them.
He set the template to the organization.
He did. He showed them how to do it.
Yep. And now, it's weird. It's like they need to have a setback before they can come back out and have the big year. So they win the Super Bowl, and then the next year they make the playoffs, but the Wentz stuff's starting or whatever. And they went to the Super Bowl.
Dude, we were together. Like, how nuts was that, man? Oh my God.
We were in Chicago for the draft.
Yes.
If you listen closely, you can hear Jamie yelling after they draft Wentz.
I still can't believe he became a flop. The first game of the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, that first opener of the Super Bowl year, he threw 3 touchdown passes. He threw for 300 yards. It was like, oh my God, we got a quarterback.
Yeah, but he was amazing. Some of the throws that he was making that year, just the ability, the athletic ability, the to be able to make plays off schedule like he did, and then it kind of fell apart from there. And some of it's probably injury. His body started to break down, but I think there's a reason why he hasn't had success since he left there. And now he's with Andy, and Andy will probably coach him back to being a starter at some point.
I know.
If anybody can, it's going to be Andy. If anybody
can salvage him, it's him. No, you're right. But now with Jaylen, what's your vibe going in with Jaylen? Because this offense is the best offense on paper that we've ever saw in our lives. In our lives. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and, listen, you're going to miss Kelsey, but you still got the 2 best tackles, right? You're still coming in strong.
It's almost too much. The way you started this whole segment, look at the Eagles. What do you have to complain about with the Eagles?
Nothing.
Other than maybe the head coach, and we'll see about that. But what do you have to complain about?
Seriously.
You have 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. Dallas Goedert's an above-average tight end. God forbid he can stay healthy for a season. Saquon, offensive line year after year that's considered one of the best offensive lines in football.
And you got Jahan Dotson, who I think is actually going to give you – he's so much better than Quez Watkins. He's fast, get behind, can stretch the field. He's going to get manned up with his safety. Like,
yeah, good luck. Yeah, they're going to get shots with him down the field.
He's going to make plays.
All right. Well, to answer your question, I'm bullish on the Eagles this year, and I'm bullish on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
To me, this feels like one of these response years.
Yes.
New offensive coordinator.
Agree. Yeah.
New offensive coordinator that actually knows what's going on.
Yes.
Can call plays. Is going to use his players to their strengths.
Totally right.
Motion.
Yeah.
Did they use any motion? They were dead last year in the NFL.
Couldn't pick up pressure. Like the blitzes were a disaster. We talk about hot reads. One of the most basic pieces of football. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to pressure him all day long, right? And he's just got to respond to that. And they're preparing for it. Kellen Moore's prepping for it.
They know it's coming, yes.
Right? So I go, you should be able to, they'll be able to navigate that.
Jim Johnson's defense, and Ike used to talk about this, they always struggled against Peyton Manning and the Colts.
Yes.
Because they couldn't blitz. Because if you blitz Peyton Manning, you're done.
You're done.
Right. So, like, their strength, blitzing, creating chaos at the quarterback, you couldn't do against Peyton Manning. So, Jalen and the offense needs to be like, hey, listen, bring it. Because we have you solved.
Because you're so deep with weapons that you can't, I'm with you. Like, I want them. Go blitz. Because there's big plays waiting to be had. Yeah. And by the way, he's healthy and he can move. So, like,
hopefully he stays healthy.
Well, yeah, but I would keep him in the run game at times. I just think it's another dynamic you have to worry about.
Well, you have to pick and choose your spots, and he, for the most part, is smart at getting out of balance and things like that. Unfortunately, you can't protect yourselves at all times if you're out there running the ball, as we've seen. So the more frequency, the more carries he gets, the more of a chance he can get cheap shotted or anything can happen. I want him used wisely in the run game, but at the end of last year, they were almost like out of desperation using him in the run game because nothing else was working. They
didn't use him for the whole season leading up to that. And I think it hurt. Now you got Barkley, so let's go.
What's your opinion on the game in Brazil? Because now you're getting a lot of the why are they putting the game there? The Eagles can't wear green, which is not true. The Packers are wearing green. But, Twitter is banned. Now people can't tweet in Brazil, and there's wildfires and things like that, and the players are complaining.
Do I think it's necessary? I do not think it was necessary, right? I mean, actually, I think it was ridiculous, to be honest with you. I mean, it's when you think about it, right? Well, let's be honest. There's no reason why they should be there. None. Like, I know you're trying to grow it internationally, and I completely understand why you would want it, but...
Seems pretty extreme. It's dangerous.
Listen, it's no joke. Now, the Eagles are leaving Wednesday.
Yes.
All right?
They'll get there Wednesday night, so they're only going to have Thursday and then the game.
The edict is out there, right? Like, I was talking to Big Dom. The edict is out there. Like, you're staying in the hotel. They're ordering Papa shots and they're ordering all kinds of games. Like, stay in a hotel. Listen, that's real. I mean, let's face it. We understand about security down there. It's not like xenophobic Americans, right? Like, no, it's real. It's security. Do I think they need to be there? No. International, you go to Europe, it's safer until that part of the world is ready for it.
Which may not happen in our lifetime, to be honest. Right. But and I worry about Eagles fans.
Well, that's it.
God
the team is going to be fine.
Yeah.
But, you want to talk about Sal from the, Northeast?
Yeah, who knows?
Please just be smart.
There's no place I'd rather not be than in Brazil with Eagles fans leading up to a game.
I know. You got to stay together, and you can't wander off, and you can't drink. You have to be smart. You have to have your wits. You can't be walking around a city wasted. You're going to
get robbed. You're going to get killed. You're going to get arrested. Yeah.
You're prey. Yeah. I mean, they're going to look at you like prey. Like, that's it. And the more inebriated you are, the easier you go down. Oh, so please, I'm praying to God it all happens. There's no incidents, and it's over. But I don't like it starting the season. I hate playing the Packers there. Like, we should have the Packers at the link. That's a disadvantage. Green Bay's another team that you're worried about.
Yeah, I love the Eagles in the game. I do. I just looked on the BetParks app this morning. 3-point Eagles line. At the beginning of the season, I'm thinking like, all right, what does Vegas think about this game or think about this team? Packers, the way they ended the season, the way the Eagles ended the season, if you believe in forward momentum year to year, you think the Packer or a big Super Bowl pick or something like that. Eagles 3-point favorites. I like the Eagles in this game. Not that I think it's going to be a blowout or anything like that. But listen, we'll see what Jordan Love looks like this year. He just got this big fat contract. Like, all right, he looked good at the second half of last year. He didn't look great the first half of last year.
He went through a month, if you remember. It was like 5 weeks, October into the first week of November, where he struggled. I like the Packers. I mean, obviously, I just think they have a group of young receivers. There's 5 of them, and they got 2 tight ends.
Yep.
So, they have a pretty good offense. I'm with you. We got Jacobs to it, right? So, but I'm with you. I could see the Eagles. Like, again, what I need to have happen, there's one guy on defense, and it's Jaylen Carter. Jaylen Carter needs to be a game wrecker. For this defense to really work, there has to be one major threat of just turnovers, sacks.
Yeah, he needs to dominate.
And it's got to be Jaylen Carter.
Yeah,
he's got the ability to do it.
You look at Fletcher retired. I think we take for granted how well he played last year.
Yeah, he did.
And now you don't have that at all.
Yep.
And Jaylen has you need double-digit sacks.
Yeah.
Really, you do.
Yeah,
and Jordan Davis.
And he needs to be doubled.
I've heard Baldy talk about Jordan Davis, and he's a nose tackle, so he's not going to get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. But you at least need him coming up the middle, forcing him outside.
He's got to be on the field.
No, I know. And
he's got to be on the field and passing downs. Like you didn't go and draft him to be a run stopper, and that's it.
I think they did, which is silly to trade up and draft him in the early teens. He was 13.
He needs to be on the
field impact
through the most important parts of the game. Yeah, listen, I'm with you.
Need impact. All right. I know you got your show coming up. I appreciate you.
Listen, this is great.
Bumping in or
Johnny Marks.
Yep.
Johnny Marks.
Yeah. What do you got going on today on the program?
It's opener. And by the way, I don't want to lose Phillies. So that was a great series.
Yep.
Great series.
Yeah. I'd said last week that there were a lot of people saying, all right, well, let's just win 2-2. We don't lose any ground or whatever. I said, no, screw that. Like, this team needs to – it's time to put your foot on the gas and become the Phillies we saw earlier in the season. And the Braves are very competitive. That very easily could have been 2-2 or even lose the series.
It was playoff.
Yes.
It was a playoff atmosphere. Wheeler and Nola and the bullpen was fantastic.
Wheeler was excellent, looked like Cy Young Wheeler. And the bullpen getting back – Strom, Hoffman had a little bit of a rough stretch there for a little bit.
He pitched well over the weekend.
Oh yeah. No, bullpen was good. If you get 6 innings, Estevez has been very good. He had a little rough stretch there in the beginning, or in the middle there. If you get 6 innings out of your starter with the way this bullpen,
how about good? I gotta give Noel some love, man. 9 strikeouts.
He was good. Noel's been really good this year.
He has.
He's been really, really good.
He just keeps you in the game, like.
6-7 innings,
he does,
2-3 runs.
Man. He's been terrific. And Casty.
So did you see the ESPN interview afterwards?
Yes.
What do you think, being a former journalist and a former guy that's been on the beat, what do you think about, because he does this all the time now. I would never, if I was a producer, I would never put him on the microphone with any of my guys.
He's a tough interview.
He is.
I was with him in spring training, and I sit down with him. Now, I know people he knows. So we had this, and like before the interview, I had him loosened up. But even during the interview, there are moments with him where he just like he'll answer a question in an odd way,
yes,
and very abrupt. And so you got to pivot, and that's what he's tough, especially when it's cold like that. Like when you're cold coming in and he's not comfortable.
He doesn't know who he's talking to, and she's certainly wasn't prepared for what she was getting with him.
No.
I remember his opening press conference. It was like, I remember because I was going down spring training that next week, and
I hit baseballs,
and the Phillies were like, "Yeah, Castellanos isn't available for interviews next week. Why don't we try this guy?" And like, they didn't have to tell me they didn't. Right. They want to put him out there again until they kind of got him used to things.
Yeah. So. No, listen, he's going to keep it right off his chest as real as possible.
And when he's good, he's good.
Yeah.
And he's been really good.
I get paid to hit baseball. Some of the great quotes all time.
He does.
Came from him.
He does.
Brother, listen, I love you.
All right, get
listen,
out of
break a leg. This is going to be a great show. You and Tyler. So thrilled.
Lead him right into you at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, man. Thanks for believing in PHLY.
Oh,
we're so excited.
Thanks for believing in me.
PHLY, you know.
Otherwise, I'd be driving DoorDash at lunch.
You're too talented. You're amazing. Love you, buddy.
Thanks, Ant. There he is. The Cuz coming up here at 9 o'clock. If you're watching live, if you're not watching live, because Tyler, you're more familiar with doing the PHLY Phillies stuff. How many people watch live? How many people? Because I am definitely an on-demand with TV and with even my audio. I'm a big audio guy. I still listen to a ton of audio. And I listen to probably 25% live, and the rest I'm listening at my convenience.
Yeah, you sent me something the other day, and you're like, "Hey, I really like this model. I'd like to use this model." And I'm like, "Who the heck is this?" And you're like, "This is one of the great sports shows.
It's the biggest sports radio show."
And
in
I'm
Boston,
like, and then I listened to it, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that makes sense as to why they're good. They're back and forth is good, but." You are a consumer of sports media in a way that I've not seen many people in the industry be. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you get into the industry, you do your show, you do a hit somewhere else, and then you disconnect, right? You watch the games, you take your notes, whatever. The way that you consume sports media, I've very rarely seen. It's impressive.
Yeah, it's not always a positive. Sometimes a negative, right? Like I don't like. Hey, what's your favorite TV show? I don't really watch a lot of TV, right?
That's very fair.
Well, it's so like I started watching some of the classics because I don't know. I just don't like a lot of these new shows. I watched the first season of The Bear, and then I'm like, oh, it's kind of boring. I mean, it was all right, but anyway,
you might somebody might try to fight you for that one. Apparently, I've not seen it.
The
Apparently,
Bear,
it's amazing.
The first season was good. I started watching the second season, and I was just kind of like, like either you're gonna go like, hey, I'm watching this tonight, or you're not watching this tonight.
Sure.
So I haven't gotten around to watching the second season, and I think they have the third season out there right now. But hey, listen, it's allergy season. Did you know that, Tyler? Well, listen, and I know this because my kids got sick in August. Like, high pollen count goes into November, and the main culprits, ragweed's big, mold, pigweed. I didn't know there was pigweed. Sagebrush, tumbleweed, dust mites. Anyway, allergic reactions occur when your body misidentifies a substance, such as pollen, as harmful to the body, then your immune system releases to fight off the allergens. Well, listen, here's what you can do during allergy season. Sign up for Rite Aid's rewards. Emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive pollen alerts for your area. Use a dehumidifier. Shower frequently. So Tyler, take a couple showers a day. You're washing the pollen right off of you. Check pollen counts. Keep windows closed and use an air conditioner. There you go. And then they, of course, have over-the-counter options available at your local Rite Aid. A nasal rinse to flush out your nasal passages. All the different stuff that's available. Rite Aid brand or name brand, Claritin. Listen, a lot going on here. That's not enough relief. Just ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for different types of allergy medication, like a decongestant or whatever. So ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations on ways to get relief during allergy season. And, of course, anything you need. To stop in your local Rite Aid today. All right, Ace Hardware. So check it out. Do I look like a guy that can fix anything? Because I'm not. Thank God my father can. Are you a Mr. Fix-It there, Tyler?
Absolutely not.
So you're not?
Not even a little. My father-in-law is, so I have that going for me.
So, but you can't. So you're helpless like me.
100%.
Yeah, and now I've because my wife kind of rips me for it. She said that, well, somebody's got to teach the kids how to do this or do that. And I'm like, well, it's definitely not me, right? So anyway.
www.youtube.com. You find all the tutorials you need.
It's great. YouTube's great for fixing stuff. But if you have a leaky pipe, right, Ace Hardware Home Services around the block with everything you need to fix it, all right, including the person to do the fixing. How about an air conditioning issue? They have a person for that. A faucet that you're supposed to fix last year. Well, we've got a person for that too, because they're not just the helpful hardware folks, also the helpful home service and repair folks. Plumbing, heating, and cooling. They have trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware's Home Services, bringing helpful home The help for you love from the store now to your front door. Visit acehardware.com or excuse me, acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. That's what I need. Legit, like my dad can fix most issues. Otherwise, like when I have a plumbing issue, I don't ask my dad to do it anymore. But like just for little things that would end up costing a couple hunch, I get my dad to come over and do it. When he's not going to do that anymore, I'm going to do this.
Listen, I don't blame you. You save the money where you can, especially if you know somebody that can do it. Because I'm useless. My buddy bought a home a couple years ago. They basically, had to do all the work, right? Gutted the whole thing, and we all pitched in where we could. But I'm like, listen, dude, I can paint. I
can do labor. I can
paint, but I can't. I can sand the steps for you, but I can't do anything with skill.
I cut my lawn. Oh, I have no skill.
I cut my lawn.
I do. I cut my lawn.
See,
I have a zero turn Toro.
See, that's the way to go. See,
my lawn looks good.
That's why, when you're in a complex, like an apartment complex like my wife and I are, you don't have to worry about that. They do it for you. Sometimes.
Yes, believe me, I would rather not have to cut my lawn.
But they're not great at it, but sometimes.
Whatever. All right. Did you see that the Eagles are, I mentioned this, I think, with Anthony. They're not wearing green. A lot of people speculating that they're not allowed to wear green in Brazil. That is not true. I had some guy that DM'd me last night saying that he's like, I can't believe you're allowing the Eagles to be pushed around by Brazil. Not allowed to wear green. The Packers are wearing green.
Somebody has to. You got two teams that's main color scheme is green.
So the Eagles, first time ever, black helmet, black pants, white jersey, right? I think this is going to look fantastic.
I agree. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles said, you know what? National TV, the first Friday night game in decades in the National Football League. Everybody's going to be watching, and the reaction is going to be, wow, I really like those Eagles jerseys.
Yeah,
wow, I really like the Eagles uniforms. So don't turn this into a political thing that they're not allowed to wear green because the country's saying it. That is not true.
Well, like you said, somebody has to wear green, right? You got to send two teams down there with the color scheme that is primarily their main color is green. It was one of the two teams who were going to wear it, right? I think that's pretty much as far as you look into it.
Right. Well, apparently you're not allowed to wear green in the stadium because it's the soccer rival.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. But I read that that's only for soccer, and they're not going to. If you're an Eagle fan, and God forbid you're in Brazil, I think you're okay to wear it green to the stadium. But again, I'm not there, which I'm glad about. Eagles are 3-point favorites in the game. Did you see that? That you can't tweet in Brazil. It's been banned.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple of people talking in the chat, so I'm trying to verify because the last story that I saw was this came out 2-ish days ago. Now the story came out a couple days ago, but the last update I saw came out about 2 days ago was Twitter there's a nationwide block in Brazil from the Brazilian Supreme Court.
Supreme Court ruled to ban it, correct?
Correct. So that being said, obviously that there was the mandate holds true for everybody, visitors, teams, whatever the case may be. There's going to be there would be no live updates from your beats. And when PHLY Eagles is down there, you might not have anything on their end.
Conceivably, if you can text or you have access to some of the text services you can do internationally.
Yeah, so
you could have somebody that tweets for you, I guess.
The last thing that I saw, now this is where I was seeing, some people in our chat today saying that it was removed. There was an $8,900 fine if you were trying to skirt these bans and use a VPN. Now, VPNs are pretty widely available. And basically, for those that don't know what a VPN is, you basically log in and you say your IP is somewhere else, right? You could have a VPN in my seat, but say I'm in the UK or say I'm in Mexico or whatever. If you get caught with a VPN, at least the last report that I saw was there was an $8,900 fine for people or companies who are using VPNs to access Twitter.
So Zach Berman, do not use fake VPN addresses or whatever when you're in Brazil. covering for PHLY.
So my question is, because like I said, I saw it in the chat. Somebody posted that was taken down today. I'll have to do some deeper insight. I haven't seen an official report on that yet. But as of right now, that's the last update we've got.
All right. Ants coming up. It's in the books. Zuli.
This was fun. Went by too quick.
It did go by fast. It did.
This hour runs, especially for so you radio guy, long time. I did radio myself.
Yeah.
When you're used to 3 and 4 hour shows, the hour goes by.
It does.
In a second.
Now, you also have breaks to go to the bathroom. And
also
as you'll
true.
learn with my bladder, I'm like an old woman. So I went right before we went on the air, and I have to go again. But we're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow.
Well, that's because you drank your
It's not. It's not.
Make your fingers tingly.
I'm tingling, but I didn't drink a ton of it. All right, Ant's coming up next, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow. So we'll see you at 8 o'clock. Philly with Jon Marks, PHLY. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.